Word Local 3 to request a brochure. Watch a travel show and book this tour.
If you watch 3+U on a regular basis, then certainly you know Dr. Tiffany Ahlberg with Ahlberg Audiology. Every month she has a chance to come here and talk to us about the different advancements and treatments if you're suffering with hearing loss. But this morning she kind of brought us a special surprise, so good to see you. Good to see you. This is Bella Cupp, who is a senior at Cleveland High School, and she is a future audiologist, we can say. But the story that brought her to this career path is a pretty profound one. You yourself had an accident, Bella, what, about a year ago?
It was June of 2023.
Okay, so almost 2 years ago.
Yes.
That cost you your hearing.
Yes.
And yet here you are.
Yes.
So we have had a chance, Tiffany, you've been sitting back kind of quietly listening to Bella tell me her story, and I could just sit back and never speak a word and let her carry the conversation. This is profoundly impactful for me to hear. Yeah. Yet she's not that uncommon, is she, Tiffany? That hearing loss does impact not just older people.
Right. I mean, it's when you think of hearing loss, you don't think of a beautiful face like Bella, but it is. It's beautiful people have hearing loss too. So,
so here's I'm going to let her tell her story so you can understand the impact it's going to have on your life. But whether you're struggling with hearing loss or just any kind of a challenge, I think the story resonates. So take us back, June 2023, your family's on vacation at Seaside.
Yes. So in Seaside, we were on a golf cart, and we had just gotten there maybe 2 hours into the trip, and we were going to go get something to eat. Whenever we got on the golf cart, I was on the seats that faced backwards, and whenever my dad went left, I went right. And I hit the ground, and I hit the back of my head, and they described it as like a big boom. And so I broke my occipital bone, and when they got to me, I was seizing automatically, and I remember this vaguely. I woke up and I was just screaming, like, I can't hear anyone. All I hear is ringing. That's all I can hear. I can't hear anyone. And I was just screaming. I didn't want anyone to touch me. I thought that I was fine. And so they put me on an ambulance, and I went to Panama City Beach. That was the closest trauma unit. And when I got there, they were going to fly me out to Pensacola because that was the closest pediatric unit. And but
the weather was bad.
The weather was bad, yes. And they couldn't get a helicopter in to fly me out, so they were going to send an ambulance. The ambulance was like 3 hours behind, so they wouldn't get to me. The surgeon came in, and he was like, no, like, she will not make it if we do not do surgery this minute. So they took me back to surgery, and I was in the ICU for 5 days on a ventilator. I woke up on July 3rd, got the ventilator taken out. Then I stayed at the hospital for 10 more days. The doctors at the hospital told me that it could be conductive hearing loss, meaning the middle ear, there was damage to the middle ear, and I could potentially get my hearing back within 3 to 4 weeks. When I went to Shepherd Center, which is a rehab center in Atlanta, they looked into my ears and they were like, I'm just gonna refer you to an audiologist here in Atlanta. Go to them, they're gonna get you all figured out. So I went to them, and that's when I found out I did have sensory neural hearing loss, which is permanent hearing loss.
So let me pause you for just a minute, because you're very, very effectively kind of taking us through step by step. But I can watch you as you talk. Some of this you have no memory of.
Yes.
You're just repeating what you've been told.
Yes, that is correct.
But the emotions that you had to have carried, you kind of can do it dry-eyed now. But you said when you heard that at the audiologist in Atlanta that it was permanent. That was hard.
Yes, that was really crushing. And sorry, sometimes I do still get emotional talking about it because it's something that I won't ever get back again. Mm-hmm.
Well, you let your emotions kind of come in for a minute, and I'll carry you for a second, okay? Because that's not fair to set you up like that on television. But Tiffany and I obviously are older than you, and so our hearts break for you. And yet they're also filled because you have this inner strength. You said that you had never even heard of audiology before. You must feel like this is some I don't want to be overly cliche here, but like a God-led thing.
It is. It
because
really
now
is.
you're going to be able to take your experience and change other people's lives.
It's amazing. And I think that's what I figured out throughout this hard time, and how I've kept my optimistic attitude, because I know that this was all in His plan, and this was His plan for me to go into this field and help other people like me and show them how these things shouldn't set you back from what you want to do.
Well, and I remember, and I know Tiffany does, when the cochlear implant hit the market.
Yes.
I mean, I think you're also going to be a real testament to the need, the ongoing need to learn more and let the technology advance, because there are life-changing and maybe hopefully one day reversible abilities that we have now.
Yeah, it is. It's simply amazing how, a sense can be regained by technology. It's simply amazing. And Bella is a wonderful testament of that.
So y'all are both up in Cleveland. Tiffany's offices, by the way, are in Cleveland and then again in Athens. But when this happened to you, there wasn't anybody in Cleveland, it sounds like, who wasn't rallying for you. This was a community experience.
Yes, absolutely.
How are your parents now?
It was definitely a big thing for them when this happened. But right now they're doing good. They're proud of me. They're just so thankful that I am happy.
There is a tendency, I think, that we have if we ever have a hardship, like if you have an aching shoulder and your shoulder hurts, but you'll then quickly say, oh, but it could be worse. I could be dealing with something else. But the truth is, everybody who comes through your door, Tiffany, for a hearing loss need, it's their experience. Yeah. And they need that compassion. Hopefully their story won't be as grave as Bella's, but they need that hands-on care that you provide. So you're not trying to make one case more augmented, I guess, than another.
Yeah,
is that right?
It is. It's an emotional experience when you, no matter how the severity of the loss, like when you know that you've lost something, there is an emotional response. I mean, you go through the stages of grief, and it doesn't matter how young or old you are, or if it's you or if it's your child. Like, there are stages of grief that you go through, and then you're more powerful in the end for it. But it does it does put a toll on
It's interesting for me to hear, you only have a couple of minutes left, but I asked you what your hearing was like now, to compare it now versus prior to the accident. There was a little bit of a learning curve, it sounds like, that you had to go through?
Yes, when I first got the cochlear implant turned on, I could hear what people were saying, but I couldn't understand the words. I couldn't make out the sentences that they were trying to communicate with me. And so I did have to go to speech therapy so my brain could relearn all the words and the sound that I'm hearing now.
Well, you're a future vol.
Yes, I am.
You're headed off to UTK in the fall.
Yes.
And I know that the world's going to be a better place for it. Your name, of course, means beautiful, and you are, but they always say that beauty really comes from the inside out. So clearly you've got that part of it nailed.
Thank you.
I'm losing my voice. Let me show you how to get in touch with Tiffany, and then I'm going to give you something to take home to your dad. Okay? So she is in Cleveland and up in Athens. They are the two different phone numbers for her. It's ahlbergaudiology.com. No doubt, Bella, that your parents are going to end up watching you on TV today, and I bet your dad is going to feel a little bit of tears come back. So here's something to make him laugh, okay? We always tell a dad joke of the week, so you can share this with him when you get home today, and you can tell it over your supper table as well tonight. Here's our good friend Jason with this week's dad joke of the week. Thank you.
Your dad joke of the week, brought to you by West Yellow Knife Trading Post.
Welcome to this week's installment of the Dad Joke of the Week. I tried something new the other day. I went to a club, it was a vegetarian club. This girl came up to me and said she thought she knew me, but I'd never seen her before. What happens when chemists die? They bury them. Thank you.
Jason, come on, that was bad, really bad. Anyway, for something good though, come to West Yellow Knife in Dalton. You better get it when you see it at the knife.
The itch and rash of moderate to severe eczema disrupts my skin night and day. Despite treatment, it's still not under control. But now I have Rinvoq. Rinvoq is a once daily pill that reduces the itch and helps clear the rash of eczema fast. Some taking Rinvoq felt significant itch relief as early as 2 days, and some achieved dramatic skin clearance as early as 2